Chapter 82, Part 2 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. After Shao Chang returned to the Eastern Palace, he fell gravely ill. Everyone thought that he must have received a huge psychological blow from Chen Shi's banishment to the Cold Palace. Although the Crown Prince has become a medicine jar since his sudden illness last year, the imperial physicians also said that so long as he rests at ease, he could still live for decades. This time, his internal energies had been so agitated that his old injury recurred and he fell into a coma. They were afraid that everything about his condition now pointed towards disaster. With Shao Cheng so ill, he could no longer manage the affairs of the state. The emperor ordered authority over the Tianji camp taken from him. At this time, King Ning, Shao Jie, had been ordered to investigate Shishya's spies, but he lacked the manpower to properly do so. Now, this shadow guard organization, who worked themselves to the bone for the royal family, came into Shao Jie's hands. Misfortune never comes singly. Dark and gloomy clouds hung over the eastern palace, while Xinjiang Hall had not seen the sun of heaven for many days. As summer began, the weather gradually turned hot. Not only did the emperor's condition not improve, rather, it became worse and worse. The entire imperial hospital, including Lin Qingyu, who had no official position, was made to work round the clock due to these two personages' condition, and yet they yielded no results. The headaches tormented the emperor to the verge of death. He felt like there was a shovel in his head, delivering pound after pound against his brain. The emperor's groans reverberated in his bedchamber day and night. As it wore on, he eventually lost even the strength to moan. The imperial physicians were helpless, and the emperor could only pin his hopes on Lin Qingyu. He hoped that Lin Qingyu could save him a second time and even granted him the position of Assistant Yan Pan of the Imperial Hospital. Lin Qingyu lived up to his expectations and prescribed him a new medicine. After the emperor took it, sure enough, his headache subsided. However, what followed was long periods of drowsiness. He was in a daze all day long, and every time he woke up, he would be so confused he couldn't even tell day from night. He now seemed beyond feeling any pain. Lin Rushan, as the Yanpan of the Imperial Hospital, could tell what medicine the emperor was taking. He found Lin Qingyu and said hesitantly, "Qingyu, the medicine you gave His Majesty." Lin Qingyu said, "His Majesty said that he didn't want to hurt anymore, and I made it so that he wouldn't hurt. I followed the imperial edict. There is no need for father to worry." Lin Roshan still worried nonetheless. "Do you really know what you're doing? The Crown Prince and Shen Shi will say nothing of it. But if the Empress and King Ning were to find out, would they allow you to do this?" Lin Qingyu smiled reassuringly. "Father, do not worry. I have thought this through. You can leave this matter alone." Lin Roshan sighed. "All right, I have never been able to control you. But be careful in everything." The emperor and the crown prince fell ill one after the other. The heavy responsibility of supervising the country naturally fell on the shoulders of King Ning. In the past, Shao Jie was nothing but a pillow with an embroidered case. His birth mother was low humble. He himself had no talent or virtue. No one would have imagined that one day the Dayu would be under his control. The ministers who were close to Shao Chang were defiant at first, but he proved himself ever so capable at each task the emperor aside. They had no choice but to accept it. Kept busy with state affairs, Shaojie had no time to return to King Ning's mansion for many days. He took Shirong to stay with him in the side hall of Xinjiang Hall. While managing the country, he did not forget to serve his imperial father in his illness and to pay his respects to his imperial mother. After a few months, Xiaojie gained a reputation not only for being a hardworking ruler but also a loyal and filial son. On this day, Lin Qingyi was invited by King Ning to Xinjiang Hall. The messenger said that King Ning suddenly felt unwell and asked him to take a look. When he arrived at the side hall of Xinjiang Hall, he saw Xiaojie lying over the desk and sleeping soundly, a pen held slack in his hand. There was even a spot of ink on his nose. Lin Qingyi said softly, "Your Highness?" Shirong's voice came from behind him. "Dr. Lin, you are here." Lin Qingyi turned around and looked. During this period, he and Shirong met frequently in the palace. Compared to when he was in the king's mansion, Shirong was now several times busier. However, he showed no tiredness at all. Instead, his face was bright and radiant. He seemed to be enjoying every day. Lin Qingyu laughed inexplicably. Shirong personally poured him a cup of tea and asked politely, "What is Imperial Physician Lin laughing at?" "It's funny. Steward Shi and the general are two extremes." Lin Qingyu took the tea handed by Shirong. "The busier Steward Shi is, the more excited he is. If it were that one from my family, I'm afraid it wouldn't even be 2 days before he's already complaining loudly and washing his hands off the entire thing." A strange expression quickly flashed in Shirong's eyes. Lin Qingyu's mention of "that one from my family," had he said it offhand, or did he mean something more by it? General Gu has been working for the country and the peace of the Northwest for a long time. In order to let the general rest easy, the prince has already excused him from attending the daily morning court, Shirong said with a smile. "Or does Imperial Physician Lin have any other requests?" "No, that's fine." Lin Qingyu looked at Xiaojie. "Steward Shi, is it alright to let His Highness sleep like this? Although it's summer, it's still cold in the mornings and evenings. His Highness can scarce afford to fall ill at this time." "Imperial Physician Lin, please wait a moment." Shirong walked to Xiaojie, leaned over, and carried him in his arms. Xiaojie woke up. Seeing Shirong's face, he dazedly called out, "Arang?" Shirong said warmly, "I will take you to the bedroom to sleep." Xiaojie nodded and put his arms around Shirong's neck, closing his eyes again. Shirong settled Xiaojie and returned to the side hall. He apologized to Lin Qingye. "Imperial Physician Lin, I am sorry to have kept you waiting." Lin Qingye had already drunk half of a cup of tea. "If Steward Shi has something he needs to say, please tell me." The two of them each took what they needed, and they have been in alliance for a long time. Shirong said, "His Highness has been supervising the country for a while. I wonder if Imperial Physician Lin finds things satisfactory." "Steward Shi's words are interesting," Lin Qingyu said. "Whether things are satisfactory or not, should you not ask His Majesty?" "What are you asking me for?" Shirong said with a smile. "Then Who does Imperial Physician Lin think suitable to express these words? Lin Qingyu looked up at him. What do you mean? We need someone to step up. Best it be a civil minister trusted by His Majesty, a middleman who is not too close to either the Crown Prince or King Ning, Shirong said. His Majesty's illness worsens by the day. The times he is awake grows less and less. I hope that while His Majesty is lucid, he might give His Highness proper title. Imperial Physician Lin is of exceptional intelligence. You should understand my meaning. Lin Qingyu said slowly, Steward Shi has been lying dormant for many years. Why are you losing patience now? Shirong was dressed in hanfu. He was obviously a eunuch, and yet he seemed to born a cut above the rest, more like a prince than Shao Jie. It is because I have been dormant for many years and have waited for too long that I do not wish to wait now. Lin Qingyu said, More haste, less speed. Steward Shi, keep calm. Do not be impatient. Shirong bowed and saluted with modesty and respect. In this case, I would like to thank Dr. Lin. Lin Qingyu and Gu Fuzhao had been planning for a long time. Each step was linked to another. Now they were only one step away from achieving their goal. The proper title Shirong wanted was nothing more than an imperial edict stating the proper heir. This was not difficult. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the Crown Prince's party could no longer hold their heads above the winds and waves. Even if the Emperor were to show consideration for their bond as father and son, leaving him as Crown Prince, how long could he remain seated on the throne given the condition of his body? Even if the Emperor were to depart first and the Crown Prince can ascend to the throne, how could a new emperor with a short life be able to hold steady this vast nation? Now it was simply a matter of having someone send a letter to the emperor urging for a change in heir. Within the army, every soldier would respond from a single cell from Gu Fuzhao. Though it could be him who speaks out, if he were but a little careless, he might be charged with mutiny and forcing the emperor to abdicate. Gossip is a fearful thing. Lin Qingyu cared not a whit about others, but he couldn't stand his husband being criticized. The best candidate was the one who had urged for Shao Jie to be named king, the Nanan Hao. Shirong was hinting at him to go to Nanan Hao and urge him to write a memorial suggesting the change in heirs. Shirong's impatience showed his ambition. On the other hand, at this time, Lin Qingyu was in no hurry. Now, Shao Jie was in charge of the country, but behind Lin Qingyu were Gu Fuzhao and the Empress. In his grasp was a seriously ill emperor. The two sides are evenly matched. Thus, Shirong had the guts to instruct him to do things. While Shao Jie becomes crown prince, with time his wings will grow. When that time comes, it will be but a dream if Lin Qingyu wished to be on equal footing with them. It wasn't for this pair of half-brothers that he and Gu Fuzhao went to such great lengths to pull the emperor and his son into the water. Lin Qingyu put down the teacup. I haven't finished speaking yet. What is Steward Shi thanking me for? Shirong raised his eyebrows and said, Then Imperial Physician Lin means I can give His Highness his proper title, but I have 3 conditions. Imperial Physician Lin, please do tell. 1. I want command over Tianji camp. Shirang's expression changed slightly and he said with a faint smile. And secondly, in addition to the Imperial cavalry camp, the Imperial guards in the palace are also to be under the command of General Gu, Lin Qingye said. Thirdly, if the prince succeeds in ascending the throne in the future, he is to make the current empress the future Empress Dowager, hold court from behind a screen. The smile faded from Shirang's face and he said slowly, Imperial Physician Lin is so ambitious. Why not be the emperor yourself? Lin Qingye said, You yourself call me Imperial Physician Lin. How can a mere Imperial Physician aspire to the throne? Shirang said lightly, I'm afraid Imperial Physician Lin does not speak the truth. I have made my words clear. There is still time for Steward Shi and His Highness to consider it first before letting me know your decision, Lin Qingye said. But best not to make me and the general wait too long. A long night is fraught with dreams. There might be a day when His Majesty wakes up. Shirang watched Lin Qingye walk to the door. He suddenly said, Imperial Physician Lin, please wait. I have one more thing regarding which I would like to ask the Imperial Physician and the General of their plans. What is it? Princess Jingchen's matter has been exposed in the north. Should the court execute a preemptive strike? As Dai's only king from a different clan, the king of the north has been a hidden danger. No, the current court is short of troops and provisions. It is only enough to deal with the war in the northwest, Lin Qingye said. As long as Jingchen is by king of the north side, the northern border will not invade the court. Shirang asked, How does Imperial Physician Lin know this? Lin Qingye made no comment. He had asked Gu Fuzhao the same thing, and Gu Fuzhao told him. If the story of Sha Cheng and Shen Haoshi was a bucket of vomit-inducing swirl of sadistic love, of picking up the pieces and starting anew, then the story of the King of the North and the Princess Jingchen was a sweet couple of a love story from beginning to end. For them, being in love together was the most important thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's been like a week since I recorded, so my voice has been totally out of it. And I want a freaking side story of the King of the North and Princess Jingchen. And not one chapter. I want like literally 20 chapters of them. Like how they kind of like met, how the King of North fell in love with Jingchen in the capital, and how they were like, in the north, how the king of the north found Jingchen's true identity and still loved him. And they're literally, I'm pretty sure it will be more of like slice of life, cutesy romantic story. I want that story, like so freaking bad.